Most people think of flies as harmless, annoying insects. But what if I told you some flies can blind you, eat your flesh, transmit deadly parasites, or kill millions through the diseases they spread? Some of them bite, some infect silently, and some can turn a small wound into a nightmare nobody wants to imagine. Stay until number 1 because the deadliest fly on Earth has caused more suffering than many predators combined. Welcome back to Top Wonder, the channel where we uncover the strangest, deadliest, and most unbelievable creatures on the planet. Today, we're counting down the 10 most dangerous flies in the world. They don't have fangs or venom, but their bites, parasites, and pathogens make them silent, efficient killers. Let's begin. Number 1. Facefly Musca autumnalis. The facefly looks innocent enough. A small, ordinary fly often seen hovering around livestock or resting on fence posts. But this species has a disturbing habit. It feeds on tears, mucus, and secretions from the eyes of animals. As it moves between hosts, the facefly becomes a major spreader of infectious eye diseases, including pink eye outbreaks that can blind cattle and reduce entire farm yields. For humans, the risk is lower, but not zero. In regions with high livestock density, faceflies carry bacteria that can irritate human eyes or contaminate surfaces handled by farm workers. Their feeding behavior causes stress in animals, making livestock more vulnerable to secondary infections. In one documented case, a herd of cattle in Wyoming suffered severe eye ulcers traced back to heavy facefly infestations during a dry summer season. While the facefly rarely harms humans directly, its ability to spread pathogens across large farm areas makes it one of the most problematic species in agricultural environments. Small, persistent, and capable of transmitting disease. It earns a place on our list. Number 9. Black fly Simulidae. Black flies are tiny, often no bigger than a sesame seed, but their bites are notoriously painful. They swarm in huge numbers, especially near rivers and lakes, and slice the skin open rather than piercing it like mosquitoes. That slicing motion triggers bleeding, which the flies lap up as a food source. For many victims, the result is intense itching, swelling, rashes, and allergic reactions. In some regions, large outbreaks have caused a condition known as black fly fever, a combination of headaches, fever, nausea, and swollen lymph nodes. Outdoor workers, hikers, and fishermen are often forced indoors for days during peak swarm seasons. While deaths are rare, the indirect effects can be severe. In northern Canada, entire caribou herds have altered migration patterns because clouds of black flies drained so much blood that the animals became exhausted. Human communities in parts of Africa and Latin America have reported livestock deaths linked to massive swarms suffocating young animals. Painful, persistent, and capable of overwhelming both humans and wildlife. Black flies show how dangerous tiny insects can be when they attack in numbers. Number 8. Stable fly Stomoxys calcitrans. The stable fly is one of the few flies that bites with the force of a needle. Its mouthparts are designed to puncture skin deeply, allowing it to draw blood from humans, horses, cattle, and pets. Many victims say the bite feels like being stabbed with a pin. But the real danger isn't the pain, it's the pathogens this fly can transmit. Stable flies spread bacteria responsible for skin infections, fever, and gastrointestinal illnesses. They also play a major role in transmitting equine infectious anemia and several livestock diseases that cripple farm productivity. A study in Nebraska found that cattle attacked by stable flies lost up to 20% of their seasonal weight gain because the flies fed so aggressively that the animals stopped grazing. In humans, bites can become infected quickly, especially in tropical climates where these flies breed in decaying plant matter. Stable flies may look like plain house flies, but their aggressive feeding behavior and disease-spreading potential make them far more dangerous than their appearance suggests. Number 7. Deerfly Chrysops spp. Deer flies are fast, agile, and relentless blood feeders. Unlike mosquitoes, they don't sneak up quietly, they dive in with a slashing bite that draws blood almost immediately. But what makes them truly dangerous is the parasites they carry. Deer flies are one of the main transmitters of loa loa, a parasitic worm that migrates through human tissues and can travel directly across the eye. Victims have reported feeling the worm move under their skin, causing swelling, itching, and intense pain. In severe cases, complications can affect the kidneys and brain. These flies target humans and large mammals during outdoor activities, especially near water. Their persistence is legendary. Some will follow a moving target for hundreds of meters. In parts of Central Africa, deer fly season forces entire villages to alter their daily routines to avoid exposure. Painful bites, relentless pursuit, and the ability to spread a parasite that literally crosses the human eye. That's why the deer fly earns its place at number 7. Number 6. Sandfly phlebotomist and Lutzomia. Tiny, fragile-looking, and almost silent, the sandfly is responsible for some of the most devastating infections in tropical and desert regions. Its bite transmits leishmania, a parasite that causes leishmaniasis, a disease that can rot away skin, collapse mucous membranes, and even destroy internal organs. Cutaneous leishmaniasis leaves victims with crater-like ulcers that can take years to heal. Mucocutaneous leishmaniasis eats away at the nose, mouth, and throat. And the deadliest form, visceral leishmaniasis, attacks the liver and spleen, killing thousands each year if untreated. Sandflies thrive in cracks, old buildings, rodent dens, and forest edges. U.S. soldiers deployed in the Middle East have suffered outbreaks severe enough to require medical evacuation. In Brazil, entire towns experience seasonal surges where children and pets become infected simply by playing outside at dusk. Small, silent, and carrying a parasite capable of reshaping a person's face. The sandfly marks the terrifying turning point of our list. We're only halfway through, and already we've seen parasites that destroy organs, flies that slice skin open, and bites that leave lifelong scars. But the top 5 species are on a completely different level. Some can eat living flesh, some transmit diseases that have killed millions, and one of them doesn't even need to bite you to put your life at risk. Number 5. Fleshfly sarcophagidae. Fleshflies don't lay eggs, they lay live larvae directly into open wounds, decaying tissue, or even healthy flesh. This horrifying process, known as meiosis, allows the larvae to begin feeding immediately. They burrow into tissue, causing pain, swelling, infection, and in severe cases, massive necrosis. Victims in tropical regions often wake up to find larvae inside untreated cuts or mosquito bites that became infected. In hospitals with poor sanitation, fleshflies have been known to deposit larvae on bedridden patients, leading to life-threatening complications. Livestock are frequent victims as well. Farmers in South America report sheep and goats dying after fleshfly infestations destroyed large sections of tissue. And for humans traveling in remote wilderness areas, even a small wound can become a medical emergency if these flies are present. Meiosis can require surgical removal, antibiotics, and weeks of recovery. A fly that turns your own flesh into its nursery earns a terrifying place in the top 5. Number 4. Horsefly tabanus spp. The horsefly is one of the strongest, fastest, and most aggressive biting flies on Earth. Its mouthparts act like tiny scissors, slicing the skin open to create a bleeding wound. This is why victims often feel a ripping sensation instead of a sting. Horseflies drink large amounts of blood and can transmit several dangerous diseases, including tularemia and anthrax. In some allergic individuals, a single bite can trigger anaphylaxis, a severe reaction requiring immediate medical care. These flies pursue moving targets obsessively. Hikers, swimmers, and livestock can be surrounded by swarms that bite repeatedly, causing bleeding, swelling, and intense pain. Their eyesight is exceptional. They detect motion from over 100 meters away. In parts of the US, Canada, and Europe, horsefly season forces parks to shut down beaches and trails. Livestock losses can reach millions due to stress, blood loss, and infection. Fast, intelligent, and brutally aggressive, the horsefly is a predator disguised as a fly. Number 3. Tsetse fly Glossina spp. The tsetse fly is one of the deadliest insects in African history. Its bite transmits trypanosoma brucei, the parasite responsible for African sleeping sickness, a disease that destroys the nervous system. Early symptoms include fever, headaches, and swollen lymph nodes. But as the parasite invades the brain, victims experience personality changes, confusion, hallucinations, seizures, and finally, coma. Without treatment, the disease is almost always fatal. Tsetse flies actively hunt humans and animals. They detect movement and body heat with astonishing accuracy and will follow a target for long distances. In East Africa, cattle herders often lose entire herds because infected animals become too weak to stand. During the 20th century, sleeping sickness killed hundreds of thousands of people and devastated agriculture in many regions. Even today, rural communities continue to suffer outbreaks. A fly that hunts like a predator and carries a parasite that destroys the human brain earns its place in the top 3. Number 2. Botfly Dermatobia hominis. The human botfly doesn't just bite you, it moves into your body and lives there. This fly has evolved one of the most horrifying strategies in the animal kingdom. It never lays eggs directly. Instead, it hijacks mosquitoes, ticks, and even other flies, gluing its eggs onto their bodies. When that carrier insect lands on warm skin, the eggs hatch instantly, and a larva burrows inside in seconds, so fast you won't feel it. Once inside, the larva anchors itself and begins feeding, using hooked spines to prevent removal. The wound swells into a painful boil that oozes fluid and pulses as the larva breathes through a tiny hole in your skin. Some grow over to centimeters long, and victims often report hearing or feeling the larva scraping tissue, especially at night. Botfly infestations can cause fever, secondary bacterial infections, cellulitis, and in rare cases, blood poisoning. Farmers in Central and South America lose thousands of livestock annually to botfly infestations, and dogs often suffer severe tissue damage requiring surgery. Removing the larva is a meticulous process. Doctors must suffocate it with petroleum jelly, duct tape, or even bacon fat until it forces itself out. If you pull too early, the larva can rupture, causing dangerous infections. A fly that doesn't just bite, it lives under your skin, turning the human body into an incubator. That's why the botfly sits at number 2. Number 1. Housefly Musca domestica. The housefly may be the most underestimated killer on Earth. It doesn't have venom, it doesn't bite, it doesn't burrow under your skin, but it spreads more human suffering than almost any predator, parasite, or venomous creature alive. Houseflies live everywhere humans do: villages, cities, farms, hospitals, refugee camps. They breed in filth, animal waste, garbage, sewage pits, rotting corpses. Every time they land, they pick up microscopic pathogens on their feet, legs, and mouthparts. Then they land on your food, your hands, your drinking water, and the contagion begins. Research has shown that a single fly can carry millions of bacteria at once. They transmit over 65 deadly diseases, including cholera, dysentery, typhoid fever, salmonellosis, tuberculosis, E. coli infections, eye infections, and parasitic worms. In the developing world, these diseases kill far more people each year than snakes, spiders, sharks, or scorpions. Historically, houseflies played a major role in outbreaks that devastated entire cities. During World War II, dysentery linked to flies killed more soldiers than bullets in certain regions. In modern refugee camps, Doctors struggle to control diarrheal diseases because flies move freely between latrines and food areas. Their reproduction is explosive. One pair can produce tens of millions of descendants in a single warm season, and they adapt quickly. Pesticides barely slow them down. The housefly isn't the deadliest because of aggression. It's deadly because it is everywhere, unstoppable, and responsible for more human misery than nearly any other animal. That's why it earns the #1 spot. So, which fly shocked you the most? The botfly hiding under your skin? The tsetse fly that shuts down the brain? Or the everyday housefly spreading deadly diseases worldwide? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because the next countdown might reveal a creature even smaller and far more dangerous.